I'm Jamie and welcome back to my channel, Jamie Sage Knits. Today I'll be sharing my 11th podcast. I'm really excited to share some updates on my recent knitting and upcoming plans, and I would really appreciate it if you'd like to subscribe and follow along. I often post about, of course, my own knitting, works in progress, but also roundups of patterns that fit into a certain theme or category, seasonal knitting plans, stuff like that. And definitely comment down below and let me know what you are working on at the moment as we're heading into fall, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. The shirt I'm wearing now is my mixed WIP Cami by Florence Miller, which I talked about in my last podcast. This is made in Knitting for Olive merino in the color Pink Daisies, and I just love this. I've been wearing it a lot before it gets too chilly, although you can start wearing it with like a jacket or a cardigan, and it's just like really easy to throw on. It's so pretty. And it's just like a nice basic and a fun pop of color. So first up, I have a finished project that I am very excited about. In my last podcast, I think I had mostly finished this but hadn't like seamed it up and added the finishing touches. So this is the Filigree Cami by Marzena Kolaczek, and this is a beautiful kind of lace feature pattern that is worked up in panels, and the back is really kind of the showstopper. It is so beautiful, and the pattern starts by having you do 2 back panels, then you do the front panel, which has the same lace motif just on these little detail edges, and then you pick up stitches, make these side panels, and seam it all together, and of course add on these little I-cord straps, and then at the very end add on the buttons to go up the back. And these are real buttons, so you can unbutton them. I think something that would be really cute is having the top like 2 or 3 buttons and then having the bottom ones kind of more loose, but at the moment I have all of them buttoned, and I just absolutely love this pattern. It was so fun to work on and is a really beautiful and striking product. I used Knitting for Olive pure silk in the color cream, which I had left over from a prior project, and this used less than 2 balls, and it is such a breezy and cool fabric. I have had a chance to wear it a couple of times as we're kind of in like late summer, early fall, and I'm not sure how it would feel in like the hottest days, but I actually do think it could be quite comfortable due to the fiber and due to the like airiness and openness of the pattern. I knit this with neutral ease as the pattern recommends, and the sizes range from 31.5 to 60 inches. I will say it's pretty hard to figure out like what to wear under this. I just wound up wearing a nude bra, and like people know I'm wearing a bra, and that's okay. Like you can see the bra a little bit, like the straps here, you can see under the arms. I don't know if you can see it actually through the lace in the back, maybe a little bit, but the biggest issue is like under the arms because the armholes go quite low. And I tried a few different options, like sticky boobs, you could just kind of like see through the front, and I tried like wearing like a t-shirt or something under it. I actually might do that more as we head into fall, but at the end of the day, I don't really care if people know I'm wearing a bra, so that is what I went with for now, and I'll explore more ways to style this, because I just think it is such a cute item, and I really love it. So I also am really happy with the buttons that I chose. I was inspired by the ones in the sample photos in the pattern, which are also like half dome pearls that like match pretty well with the yarn color, and I'm so happy with the ones I chose and how it turned out. The only downside is that they're kind of uncomfortable if I'm like sitting against something hard, like on the subway, but I think that'll be good for my posture. I'll just have to sit up straight. So yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about this pattern. I would definitely recommend it. It's a slightly more advanced pattern just due to the lace and cable motif and due to the seaming and construction, but overall it was really fun. The pattern was very clear, and I'm so happy with the final product, and I'm excited to hopefully get to wear it maybe 1 or 2 more times this season and then break it out next summer and see how it holds up in some of the hotter days, because the pure silk is just a really lovely airy fabric. So yeah, I'm so happy with this one, and I just think it is so lovely and detailed and beautiful. Oh, one other thing is that with blocking, often I do try to pin things out, but I rarely like measure it. Sometimes I just go based more on vibes, but for this one I pinned it very carefully, exactly according to the pattern measurements, and I do think it was worth it because it led to a very like tailored and polished look. So I think this is a case where it was worthwhile to go to that extra bit of effort. And then I have another lace project that I have finished. This is the Rimurimu Tee by Yamagara, and this is a beautiful, very similar, I would say, lace motif, but it is all over lace, and there is a keyhole detail at the back with a little button. It calls for a light fingering weight on, I think, 3.5 millimeter needles, and the finished bust ranges from 33 to 66 inches, so a nice wide range. I've talked about this in prior podcasts. I wound up using Murky Depths Yakima fingering in the color Lucia, which is a bit thicker than the recommended light fingering yarn, but I had a lot less than the recommended amount. So I decided to round down in my size selection and just knit until I ran out. And I also excluded the ribbed edging on the sleeves, in part to save yarn, but also just because I actually prefer how it looks on my arms to just like kind of fall straight at the shoulders rather than have that little extra bit. And I pinned it pretty aggressively during blocking, and I was able to achieve the pattern measurements for the width and like pretty much everything except for the length, because I did make it cropped. It's about 2 inches cropped, which isn't even that bad. I'm fine with it. I'm really happy with the fit, and when I've showed this in previous podcasts, it was so scrunched up, but with blocking it really relaxed so beautifully. It is so soft. The Yakima fingering yarn, I think off the top of my head, has something like 65% merino, 20% silk, 15% yak, something like that. So there is merino content, there is silk content, and then there's yak content, which is really special. So I'm very happy that I have this finished going into kind of early fall, because this color I think is very autumnal. It's a very rich and luminous shade. I don't know if you can see just like the shine that this yarn has, probably from the silk, is so beautiful, and the fiber content I think is really appropriate for this time of year. It would not be nice to wear when it's too hot, but just wearing this on its own or with a little jacket on a fall day I think will be so beautiful. And of course the lace makes it more breathable, and despite the lace, I find this like pretty reasonable to wear with a nude bra. It's not like too obvious through, and so I absolutely love this. I would definitely recommend it. And I am very, very happy with how this turned out, especially after blocking. I think that really helped the lace open up, and the drape is just beautiful. I really love this yarn. I'd love to make another project with it as well. And this project used only one skein, which is pretty nice and pretty special. And yeah, I used the same button from the Filigree Cami because I had a few left over and it was the right size. And I just think it's like a nice neutral and polished appearance. It's not too obvious because it's just at the back of the neck. And this keyhole detail is really cute. There's like a little crochet hook, and you just open it up when you're putting it on, and then once it is on and over your head, you close it up. And that allows for quite a high neck. That is one thing that's like not my favorite thing about the pattern. The neck is quite high up and a little bit like tight, but while I'm like sitting and not moving around, it's totally fine. It's just when I'm moving around, it's a little bit tight, but overall I don't mind it. It has like a little I-cord edging, which looks nice. And then also I did twisted rib on the bottom. And yeah, overall I really love this, and I again would definitely recommend it. I found it so fun and engaging, worked up pretty quickly, and I absolutely love the yarn as well. I think if I made it again, I probably would do a lighter color just to let, and like one with less variegation, just to let the lace shine more. But overall I'm really happy with it. I think it's a very special project, and I'm looking forward to treasuring it and wearing it. I did wear it yesterday actually, and I will look forward to wearing it more this fall and in future seasons. And I have one more finished object, which I actually just finished yesterday, and I'm very excited to share it. I have not blocked it yet, but this is the square neck cami by Helene Weber. So I've been talking about this as a work in progress previously, and I just wrapped it up, and you can tell that it's not blocked. It looks kind of crazy because of the ribbing. But I just think this is such a classic pattern, and similar to this one, I am hoping it will be a staple tank through the like spring, summer, early fall. I use Knitting for Olive Merino, one of my favorite yarns, in Dusty Aqua, and the sizing for this pattern fits a bust of 31.5 to 47 inches, so not the absolute best range. It has 3 to 6 inches of negative ease recommended, which you can see like makes sense because of all the ribbing. I rounded down when choosing my size because I only had two balls of this yarn instead of 3 as recommended. But I just finished at pretty much the exact recommended length. I think I made it about a ½ inch shorter, and I didn't even finish the second ball. I have like a decent amount left, so I will write down below like what size I made, and I definitely did not need 3 balls of yarn, so that was nice. And I also decided to add a double knit edge on the bottom, which is not included in the pattern, but this I felt like would be a more cohesive aesthetic with the other edging on the neckline and the armholes, which is double knit. And then I think it just gives it a slightly more polished appearance compared to like a plain bind off. And also it's actually quite stretchy as a bind off. So I was a little concerned about what other kind of bind off could achieve that same stretchy result, and the bind off instructions in the pattern I found like not clear at all in terms of the language of them. I forget if there might have been a video tutorial, and I was just like, you know what, this is the push I need to do that double knit edging, because I love having like matching edging. Actually, for this tank top I did the same thing. It's recommended to do like a plain bind off, and I added an I-cord to match the other edges. So that's just something I like to do to make it cohesive and more polished. So yeah. One other alteration I made was making the straps a little bit shorter than recommended in order to allow room for them to stretch out over time without making the neckline too low. However, I tried it on and I think they're not too short to start with, so I'm happy with that. And then otherwise I made it to pattern, including the waist decreases. I always include waist decreases, especially if they're recommended in the pattern, and I actually really love how they look in the ribbing there. So yeah, I'm really happy with this pattern. I did find it really clear aside from the bind off instructions, and it wasn't too tedious to work up. The 3x3 ribbing wasn't my absolute favorite, but I really liked it. I really like the fabric that it creates. It's like very bouncy, and I think it looks very polished. This kind of looks like something you could buy in a store, but in a good way. And I really like the color that I chose, and I'm very excited to wear this and block it out and get some wear out of it before it gets too chilly. And then I have a couple of works in progress. One, if you've watched my previous videos, will be familiar. This is the Venilia Light top by Sari Nordland. In my last podcast, I talked about how I kind of unexpectedly cast on this project because I was just getting so much enjoyment out of lace and summer knitting, and I had this yarn in stash, and I think the color is so gorgeous, and I wanted to find a nice use for it. I haven't worked on it a ton since then because I've been working on the next project I'll share, but I did get about like a third or halfway through the back panel, and I'm thinking of finishing the back panel in the next week or two and then putting it on hold as my goal before fully turning to fall knitting. And then in the spring I can just take those front and back panels, join in the round, and go from there, and have a nice, a nice finished object for the spring. So I'm really excited. I absolutely love this lace pattern, and for this pattern the finished bust ranges from 28 to 63 inches with neutral ease recommended, so quite a broad range, and I am just so happy with this so far. I think it is so beautiful, and it's also really fun to work up, so kind of the perfect pattern. Oh, I didn't even mention, this is Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the color Blueberry Ice Cream, so a very lovely breathable yarn and pretty fun to work up as well. So enjoying that, and I think I'll turn to this a little bit more in the next couple of weeks now that I've finished my square neck cami. I've also made great progress on this next project. I referenced this in my fall knitting plans, but this is the Ingrid Sweater by Petite Knit. And I started this just under 2 weeks ago, and I've been working on it as my main work in progress, especially at home. Like the square neck cami I'd bring on the subway, it's easy to transport. But I'm wearing this with my friend Jenny at Rhinebeck, so I need to finish it. I still have like about a month, and I've made great progress in about 2 weeks. So it's a little hard to tell which is the front and which is the back. Okay, I feel like this is the front. Okay. So, look at that, like, pretty much almost the entire body is done. So this was amazing progress for 2 weeks. I am using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted in the color Haze Heather, which I absolutely love. The slight tonality of it is so gorgeous. It has some flecks that are more cool toned and some that are more warm toned, so it's very dimensional, but it also, you know, from further away, I think just creates a really nice, beautiful, like light lavender color. And it also is really fun to knit with. It's very like springy, and I also love the definition that it provides for the stitches. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. And it really flew by in terms of the pattern. It was quite clear and easy to work up. And I'm almost done with the body, like I think I mentioned. I just have another of these like 2x2 ribbing sections, but potentially shorter, and then another round of these eyelets, and then the like hem ribbing. I decided to take a break from the body and knit the collar so I can see how the body sits and try it on before the 2x2 ribbing, because the pattern recommends if you want to adjust the body at all, you can do that in the second ribbing section. So you can either add more rows or take away a couple of rows to adjust the length. So I think that will be good. And also for the collar, I don't know if you can really tell, but in the pattern itself, it recommends, I think, doing like a 2x2 ribbing section and then a row of eyelets and then a 1x1 ribbing section, and having, I don't know if a funnel neck is the right word, but it is like quite a tall collar. It's not folded over. It's like part of the pattern. And personally, I just don't love the look of that. I do think it's cool how it's kind of unique and a little bit different, but I just did not think I would like that and enjoy it. And I feel like it would take away from the finished product for me. So I decided to just do a classic like folded collar, which is something that I enjoy, that I think will let the rest of the sweater really shine. So I'm doing a 1x1 rib to match with the hem and sleeve cuffs. And I'm just going to knit up probably until it's like a little bit more than this, and then double that and then fold it and sew it in. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that decision. One downside of this pattern, I've noticed this with several patterns, is that for the collar, it tells you how many stitches to pick up, but not the ratio. So I really appreciate when a collar or a sleeve pickup or whatever it is says like pick up this number of stitches, which is 3 and 4 stitches, or every stitch along the back and then 2 and 3 along the sides, or whatever it is. This one just said the total number. And then because I was not actually doing the neck, I just picked up pretty much like every stitch, especially around the back and the front. Honestly, in the seed stitch areas along the sides, I found it kind of hard to like figure out what was going on. So I'm actually not sure that I picked up every stitch there, because I did wind up with like fewer stitches than recommended, which is fine. I think for a folded collar that will work well. It was maybe like 12 fewer stitches than recommended, but that would have been challenging if I was trying to have the correct number of stitches, and I feel like I picked up pretty much every stitch, so that's a little confusing. But I think I must have just like not picked up every stitch along the sides, because I find it sometimes kind of hard to tell what is going on there, and then especially with the seed stitch. So yeah, that was a little ramble, but that is one adjustment I'm making in terms of the collar. And then I don't think I've made any other adjustments so far. I might just adjust the length in that second ribbing section as suggested. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I love these crisscross sections. They're really fun to work up, and I think the appearance is really nice. And I don't know if I mentioned, but the sizing fits a bust of 30.5 to 59 inches with around 8 inches of positive ease recommended. So yeah, I'm really happy with this pattern. I think this is one as well that will benefit from a nice block due to like the ribbing and some of the texture. And very excited for that. Oh, I guess one other note is that the pattern does recommend, I think, like a DK weight yarn plus mohair, maybe. I'm just using this worsted weight yarn because I do have a fair number of sweaters that are like DK and mohair, and I like to have more sweaters that don't have the mohair halo just to switch it up a little bit. I do like mohair, and I enjoy the warmth and the halo and the structure that it gives, but for this sweater, I am happy to have a little bit more definition and just add it to like my collection of sweaters without mohair. Alrighty, and then the last project that I want to talk about, I mentioned my fall knitting plans as well, is my second caramel sweater, also by Petite Knit. And my red version that I made last year is one of my favorite knits, so I decided to make another version in chocolate brown, and I absolutely love this turtleneck. To me, it's like the ideal turtleneck. The sizing of the pattern ranges from 37.5 to 53 inches. I think like 4 to 6 inches of positive ease recommended. And it's a classic raglan with 2x2 rib details. And I just love it. It's very like basic, but I find it like very classic. So I really wanted a warm chocolate brown. I actually brought over these shoes because this shoe is kind of like what I was going for in terms of this like chocolate brown, a little bit warm leaning. And I wanted to use Knitting for Olive because I actually have never made just like a plain sweater in their merino and mohair, and I hear people rave about that combination, and I love both of those yarns separately, so I was like, let's try it out. And the soft silk mohair in chocolate seemed like the perfect color, which, yeah, that worked out really well. But I was ordering online, and they don't have a matching merino, so I got dark mousse because it seemed like the closest match. But the color is quite different in real life than on the website, so you can see that it is way more cool toned and kind of dusty, muted, almost a little greenish actually in real life, or like grayish. So that does not, well, in this lighting it goes better, but in real life it just doesn't go at all. Like this boot almost looks like red and this looks green when I hold them together. So yeah, honestly on camera it looks like pretty good, but in real life it does not look good. This looks red, this looks green, like they're not playing well together. And it's not that like it has to match with the boot, but that boot is just kind of like my anchor of like, I love this chocolate brown. That is how I'm envisioning the sweater in my mind. So I wasn't confident in that yarn combination, but I did knit up a swatch last night, and it's a little hard to see on camera. I might include some B-roll as well, but it looks quite marled. I was hoping that the mohair would kind of like overshadow. And when I hold it far away, like, it's not that you can see the marl, although you can a little bit, actually. But it just looks quite cool-toned. Like, the merino makes it lean more cool-toned and more greenish, and the chocolate mohair just doesn't pop as much as I was hoping. So I was thinking about what to do. I was considering, like, I don't know, maybe I can change my vision. Maybe I can be happy with this. Like, this does look okay, but when you're going to put in all the hours to hand knit something, you want it to be like really nice. So I was researching alternative fingering weight yarns. The only one I could find that was a contender was, I don't know how to pronounce Isager. Tvini in the color coffee. But I was trying to find a way to see it in person to avoid another issue. But I couldn't find it at any of my local yarn stores online in order to like confirm that I should go check it out in person. So that didn't seem like an ideal option. But then this morning I was on Instagram and I saw Knitting for Olive posted a comparison of their brown shades, which felt like a blessing from the universe. And I discovered that they do have a chocolate brown wool, but in their no waste wool, not in their merino. And I just hadn't thought about that, and I hadn't looked at that. I haven't tried that yarn before, but I'm definitely open to it. So I actually just placed an order for that chocolate brown no waste wool, and I will hopefully use it for this sweater. And then I will find a different use for the dark mousse color, because I do like this color. Like, I think my undertones are a little warm, but like kind of neutral, so I feel like this could work fine. I do prefer the warm tone, but I don't think it's like a huge difference. I don't know. So yeah, I have a few ideas, and I will probably talk about that more in a future podcast. I do like the shade. It's just not what I was envisioning for this project. And when I envision that kind of warm chocolate brown that is not marled, I feel very excited. And then when I think about using this on its own for a different project, I also feel excited. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. And I did want to mention, I referenced in my fall knitting plans video, but I think in my last podcast, this Knitting for Olive yarn hadn't arrived. So I do have a bunch of new yarn going into the acquisitions. I got the yarn for this project, and then I also got yarn for another sweater, which is the Champagne Pullover by Sari Nordland. I got merino in the color Marzipan and soft silk mohair in the color Cloud, which is not like a perfect match, but that's kind of what I wanted. I like how this one's a little more yellow and this one's a little more pink, and I think they'll balance out pretty nicely. And then I also got a couple like small quantities of merino for tank tops, which I often do when I'm placing a big order from Knitting for Olive, just to kind of throw it in there. So I got 2 balls of red currant, which is so beautiful. I got 2 balls of artichoke purple, which is also really pretty. And then I got 3 balls of poppy blue, and I'm planning to use this for, what is it? It's like a tank top by Other Loops. That calls for 3 balls. And oh, this color is so pretty. I'm really happy with these merinos. Yay! So happy with that. And that is all of my Knitting for Olive acquisitions. So yeah, I will update you on the caramel sweater once my other yarn hopefully arrives. And then I will also see how the Ingrid sweater goes and hopefully get some other fall WIPs in the mix as well. Thank you again for subscribing, for watching, for supporting my channel. It has been so fun to honor my love and passion for knitting by sharing it with you all and starting to build a community and kind of have some mutuals and comment on each other's videos. It really just adds a lot of excitement to my life, and I appreciate you being part of it. So thank you again for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you for my next video. Bye.